Alright. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rock Hakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Alright, I'm going to call this one a great around the great blah. Alright, and you know when I say great, you know what this is getting into. Alright, just remove the G. Alright, and let's just get into this one a little bit because a lot of people don't realize there's a greater realm. And I think that's why people get so hung up on this law because they are not considering what would be the greater realm. All right, this is Deuteronomy. All right, 21. All right, this is Deuteronomy 21 and verse 10. All right, when thou goes forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy power had delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captives, and seized among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. And when it's going into wife here, it's talking about a concubine, which is a lesser wife, because the only like full wife is Israelites. Like Israelite women are only full wives, and the rest are concubines. You know, a man is not subject to the same marital laws dealing with a heathen as he is when dealing with an Israelite woman. All right, you can leave a heathen woman whenever you choose, but the Israelite woman, you know, you can't put her away except for certain events. All right, then thou should bring her to thy house, and should shave her head and pare her nails. All right, and she should put the raiment of her captivity from off her. So that's all her heathen customs, heathen ways. You know, she had to let all it go. You know, you shave her hair, pair of nails, pretty much symbolizing, you know, her starting fresh, renewed, all right? And she should remain in thy house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. So you can't do nothing to her for a full month. And after that, thou should go in unto her, which means, you know, have sexual relations to her after a month, and be her husband. And she should be thy wife. And it should be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou should let her go whether she will. All right. But thou should not sell her at all for money. Thou should not make merchant of her because thou hast humbled her. So pretty much you had to keep her, you know, let her go. And this was in the law, all right? Because you know women are part of the spoils of war, and this was said, you know, men were allowed to take the woman in war as part of the spoils. All right, now see, this is Judges, the 21st chapter, and see, I'm gonna start at 16, I believe. All right, and this is going into Benjamin. And you know, when they had the war, when the 5 Benjamin men raped Levi's concubine, and he sent the body parts to the rest of the tribes, and they came to avenge her, and it started a big war. And this is what happened after all the women were killed in the war. This is what they told the remainder of Benjamin to do. All right. Then the elders of the congregation said, how should we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? All right, because they snuck in behind Benjamin and entered the city and killed all the wives. And they said, there must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. All right, so they have to have wives so they can continue to go forward. Howbeit, we might not give them wives of idolaters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, "Cursed be he that gives a wife to Benjamin." All right, so they said they weren't gonna give them no wives because of the war that they had to fight against them. Then they said, "Behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly in a place which is on the north side of Bethlehem, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethlehem to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanon." Right? So they was talking about this feast that was there. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, "Go and lie and wait in the vineyards, and see, behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in the dance, then ye out of the vineyard and catch every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin." All right. And it should be when thy fathers or their brethren come unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, "Be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in war. For ye did not give unto them at this time." So since this was one of the cities that didn't send man forward to fight in the war, this is gonna say be favorable for them, and then let them go and just pretty much grab them a wife. And we know to grape it means to grab, all right, take hold of. That he should be guilty. And the children of Benjamin did so and took them wives. All right, so they took them wives according to that number of them that danced, whom they caught. And they went and returned unto their inheritance and repaired the city and dwelled in them. All right, so they took them wives, went back and repaired the city. So this is why we got Benjamin to this day. They had to go, as they would say, take hold of women and bring them back, whether they wanted to come or not, to become their wives. All right, and this is just was part of Israel history. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family, and they went out from thence every man to his inheritance. All right, so that was just what took place during that time. All right, now let's get a few more information on these laws. All right, this is go back into Deuteronomy chapter 22. All right, and I'm gonna start it. All right, I'm gonna start at verse 13, and we're gonna read um the quite a few of the marriage laws, and not just the ones where what they would, some people would consider great, but it breaks that down too up in it. All right, if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasional speech against her and bring up a evil name upon her and say, "I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid." So pretty much saying that he found this woman not being a virgin, all right? And that was a very, very bad thing because in this ancient world, they didn't play. When a woman was found out being a virgin, she was dealt with, all right? And this is going to explain how she was dealt with. Then should the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the token of her virginity was the virgin, was the bloody sheets of the first time, they did to do. The husband would give the bloody sheets to the parents as a token of her virginity and let them know that the daughter was raised right, right, unto the elders of the city and the gates. And the damsel father should say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her. And lo, he had given occasion of speech against her, saying, I find not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they should spread the cloth before the elders of the city. All right. And the elders of the city should take that man and chasten him. And they should immerse him in 100 shekels of silver. All right, and give them unto the father of the damsel. So if you lied and said that she wasn't a virgin when she was, you owe the father 100 shekels of silver. Alright? And give them unto the father of the damsel, because he had brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. So if you put an evil name upon the virgin, you had to pay 100 shekels of silver. And she should be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. All right. So if you lied, you had to keep this woman for your wife. You were not allowed to put this woman away. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they should bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city should stone her with stones that she die. And that is why this was so serious. Because if she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do, she would get stoned with stones until she was dead. All right? And that seemed like a very painful way to go. Because she had wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So should thou put evil away from among you. All right. If a man be lying with a woman married to a husband, then they should both of them die. But the man that lie with the woman, any woman, all right. So pretty much, if you commit adultery, the adultery and the adulteress, both of them are supposed to be put to death. So should thou put away evil from Israel. All right. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye should bring them both out unto the gates of the city, and ye should stone them with stones that they die. So if you was arranged to be married to somebody, and and someone brought you out and you sleep with someone else, then you was put to death. The damsel, because she cried not out, all right, being in the city, and the man, because he had humbled his neighbor's wife, all right, so they both should be put to death. So thou shalt put away evil from among you, all right. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, a woman that belongs to someone else in the field, the man force her and lie with her, then the man owning that lie with her should die. All right. So if the man forced her, then she cried out, then only the man was going to be put to death. But unto the damsel, thou should do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. All right. So if the woman cried out, then there was no sin worthy of death. For as when man rise against his neighbor and slay him, even so is this matter. Alright. For if he finds her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cries, there was none to save her. Alright. So if there wasn't no one to save her, she has not committed any sin worthy of death. Only the man. Alright. Now if a man finds a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, that means do not belong with anybody, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and was not to save her. If a man and they be found, then the man that lied with her should go unto the damsel's father and 50 shekels of silver. And it was you had to pay double that amount for lying and saying that she wasn't a virgin when she was a virgin. But it's 50 shekels of silver for a woman that was a virgin and one betrothed to anybody. And this is also why they arranged marriages so fast back then. All right, you arranged a marriage just to make sure no one else took your daughter. All right, that way she'd be betrothed to somebody, and then you wouldn't have to worry about anyone, raping her or taking hold of her, and she becoming his wife. And she should be his wife because he had humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. All right, all right. So that is very powerful. So you couldn't put her away. All right, now let's get a couple of examples of things like this taking place. Genesis 34. All right, man. All right, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughter of the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hittite prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lied with her and defiled her. All right. So he took hold of her, he raped her. And his soul craved unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spoke kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spoke unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they came. All right, and we know this is what took place during this story. All right, all right. So when Hamor the father of Shechem went unto Jacob to commune with him, and the sons of Jacob came out of the field. When they heard, the men were grieved. So everyone was sad about this. And they were very rough because he had wrought folly in Israel in line with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. Alright. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. I pray you give her him to wife, and make ye marriage with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And you should dwell with us, and the land should be before you, and dwell and trade ye therein, and get your possessions therein. And Shechem said unto the father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye should say unto me, I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gifts, and I will give according as ye should say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. So he's saying he'll pay whatever they want for so this right here lets you know that Dinah had to be very attractive. Right? He was willing to pay whatever they have. Say unto her, as me never so much dowry the damsel to his wife. And the son of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled them of their sisters. And they said unto them, We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this we will consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised, then we will give our daughter unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will our daughters, take our daughter, and we will be gone. So they worked out a deal, to be circumcised, and like you go on and you find out, if you get into other scriptures that the more details, certain books got more details to the story, but short run that Shechem was going back on their words because the rest of their people weren't happy about it, and word got back to Simeon and Levi. They took out the whole town, the two of them. Right now, but because of how things work, the initial reaction was to try to work out some kind of diary or some kind of deal, and he keep her as a wife, and that is to keep from committing the greater wrong, because the greater wrong after she was raped would have been to let her go. Now let's get Leviticus chapter 19, in verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughters to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness. And that was the whole purpose of this, was to keep the land from falling to whoredom. All right. Now, let's see. All right. And just to get another example of this in the scriptures, let's get 2 Samuel. All right. The 13, okay. And let's get verses. Let me just start at the top. All right. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister who was named Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was vexed that he felt sick for his sister Tamar. All right. So, they were half brothers, half sisters. All right. For she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it's hard for him to do anything to her. All right, but Ammon had a friend whose name was Jonaman, and the son of Shemon's David's brother. All right, so Jonah was a very stable man, and he said unto him, "Why art thou being the king's son, lean from day to day? Will thou not tell me?" And Ammon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother's Absalom's sister. All right. And so after this, and Jonah said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed and make thyself sick. And when thy father comes to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come to me and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I might see it and eat at her hand. So Ammon lied down and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Ammon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I might eat at her hand. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Ammon's house and dress him with meat. So Tamar went to her brother's Ammon's house, and he was laid down, and she took flour and kneaded it and made cakes in his sight, and did bake these cakes. Right? And she took a pan and poured them out before him, and he refused to eat. And Ammon said, Ho, have out all men from me. So he put everyone out, say, Get all the men from me. And they went out every man from him. And Alma said unto Tamar, bring thee meat into the chamber, that I may eat of thy hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought them into the chamber to Ammon to her brother. And when she had brought them unto him, he took hold of her and said unto her, come, lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not despise it. All right, so she said, do not despise it, for no such thing like this should be done in Israel. All right. All right. Now, and I, whether should I cause my shame to go? As for thee, thou should be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he would not withhold me from thee. I forbid it, he would not hearken unto her voice. Being stronger than she, forced her and lied with her. So pretty much she was crying out. He was stronger, he forced her and lied with her. Now, let's get this is in the law in Leviticus, the 18th chapter and verse 11. The nakedness of thy father's wives, daughters, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister, and thou should not uncover her nakedness. All right, so this is going against the law to do this. All right, now we know before this, the law came out, that this was one of the things that went on in the ancient world a lot. People sleeping with half sisters, but they didn't make it right. All right, and the law tells us clearly not to do that here. All right, now let's go back to 2 Samuel and 13, and let's finish that up. All right. Howbeit he would not hearken unto her, being stronger than she, forced her and lied with her. Then Ammon hated her excellently. So after he forced her to sleep with him, he hated her. So I'm guessing he didn't enjoy it. But then again, who would enjoy it with the woman skirting and fighting you and not wanting to do it? All right. So it's kind of ridiculous to rape a woman anyway, if you ask me. All right. So he hated her exceedingly. So that his hatred wherein he hated her was greater than the love wherein he had loved her. And Ammon said unto her, arise and be gone. So Ammon put her out, told her, arise and be gone. And she said unto him, there is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the others thou didst unto me. Alright. So it's worse to send a woman away after she has been raped than to to keep her. Right? If you rape her, the best thing you can do is keep her, because it is way more evil to send her away, because now she got to commit adultery. All right. So he said this evil in sending her away is way more greater. All right. And we know if you go back to the law, Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, we're gonna go over to that. See, like it's 17th verse. There should be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor sodomites of the sons of Israel. All right, so it's saying there should be no whore. All right, and if you send her away, you pretty much forcing that woman to be a whore, because you already took her virginity. All right, because she can't get that back. So that is why that was written that way in the law. All right, now let's get back to what happened. And she said unto him, there is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou hast did unto me. So it's more evil to send her away than it was to grape her. All right. So if you grape her, that's evil. But if you send her away, that's even more evil. But he will not hearken unto her. Then he called his servants that ministered unto him and said, put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. So he put her out. All right. All right. So that, and this is what made Absalom so furious that he went forth and he eventually put his brother to death. And she had a garment of divers colors upon her, for which such robes were king's the king's daughters that were virgins of Para. Right? Then his servant brought her out and bolted the door after her. And Tamar put ash on her head and ripped her garments, right, of colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. Right? And Absalom her brothers said unto her, hate Ammon thy brother. Had Ammon thy brother been with thee, but held not thy peace, my sister, he is thy brother, regard not this thing. So Tamar remained. So pretty much when Absalom find out, he was pretty hot, and we know eventually he kills his brother Ammon and starts a civil war with King David. Right? But as you can see, it's what is it saying? Tamar put ash on her head, and rent her garments, right? Because this right here was way worse than in a way. Alright. Because, once a woman is sent away and she don't have her virginity, there's really nothing left for that woman to do but be a whore. Alright. You can never be back to wife status. Right? That puts you at concubine status at most. Alright, now let me get Matthew, the 19th chapter, and what? It's at the top, so okay, I want verses 8 and 9. And he said unto Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, I suffer you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery. And whoever marries her, which is put away, does commit adultery. Alright, so pretty much you can't put a woman away and force her to commit adultery. Alright, once you married, and we know sex is marriage to an Israelite woman, you're supposed to be with her from now on. Alright, Lord, don't allow the man to put her away. Now, you can still, she can still be put away, but it has to be that woman's choice, because the laws of marriage are much stricter for women. All right, this is First Corinthians, the 7th chapter, and I'm gonna read verse 10 and 11. And unto the married I command ye not, I but the Lord. All right, so he's saying this is coming from the Lord. This is Paul letting us know this is coming from the Lord. Then not the wife depart from her husband. All right, so the wife is not supposed to leave her husband. And if she do depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife. All right? So the wife can depart if she really wants to, but she is to remain unmarried. She's not supposed to be sleeping with anyone else. And the husband cannot, put away his wife, period, because when you put a woman away, you cause her to commit adultery. All right. Now we know these marriage laws only apply to the women of Israel. They don't apply to the heathen woman. All right, but this was in the law. All right. Now, One more scripture I want to get. Let's see. All right. This is going to be out in Sirach. And the 25th chapter. And I'm going to start at verse 24. All right. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. So wickedness started with the woman, Adam and Eve, with Eve convincing Adam to go off in the garden. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad about. So pretty much, don't let a wicked woman do whatever it is she want to do. It said, if she goes not as thou willest, have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. So if a woman won't be obedient, won't submit herself to her man, and let her man lead, and submit to that man, then you are supposed to cut her off and let her go, give her a bill of divorce. Because in actuality, if she refuses to submit, that is her choosing to leave you anyway. All right, so a man can't put away a wife unless she commit adultery, but the wife can, either choose to leave, or by not following your husband leave, that is also you choosing to leave. So them are the only reasons that you can give a Israelite woman a bill of divorce. Now, a heathen woman, it's your discrepancy. All right, you can divorce them, leave them as you will. That's all up to you. All right, but this is why the grape laws were done the way they were done. It just happens to be a much greater wrong to simply put that woman away. All right, and let's get Leviticus 19, verse 29, and we're going to end it with this. Do not prostitute thy daughters to cause her to be a whore. And that's what happened when you send her away after an incident like that happened. Or the father, don't get a daughter. You causes her to be a whore. All right. Lest the land falls to whoredom, and the land becomes full of wickedness. All right. So the best thing that can happen if a great incident happens is for that man to marry that woman and keep her. And that's also what's a punishment, because one too much raping going on, knowing that you gotta take care of that woman for the rest of her life, or your life, whoever life ends first once you do that. Right? So that right there alone cut down on all the raping. But that is why it was written the way it is in the law. And with that, I'ma say Shalom.